It's time to meet Clifton.
With your host, Ray Grabowski.
Here's Ray.
Thank you very much. Hello and welcome yet again to Meet Clifton, where we try to find out what it is that makes this town so wonderful. I'm Ray, and beside me is my co-host, George Silva. What's new, George?
How you doing, Ray? The last night was the first concert of the Centennial. It was super.
And there's going to be more, but I appreciate you sharing that with me, George. Well, summer's officially upon us, and there's so much to be excited for. But first, let's see what the Two Tones have in store for us. So hit it, guys.
Here's my story, it's sad but true. About a girl that I once knew. She took my love and ran around with every single guy in town. Hey, hey,
Tonight on Meet Clifton, our guests are Senior Account Manager of Community Blood Services, Robert Hatch. Clifton Cable TV volunteer, Patrick Meyer. And Doctor of Chiropractic, Michael Magwood. With music, as usual, by the Two Tones. All this and more on Meet Clifton.
I miss her lips and her smile, the touch of her hair and the girls run. So if you don't want to cry like I do, keep away from a run around too, yeah.
Thanks for joining us tonight on Meet Clifton. Once again, we have a terrific show for you. But first, I have a question to my co-host, George. George, what's one of the most charitable things you can do for someone?
I've given out the turkeys during Thanksgiving to the people that need it. I think that's very charitable.
Okay, well, I admit that that is pretty charitable, but I wasn't referring to anything you could do monetarily, but physically. Giving blood can not only save someone's life on its own, but can assist in the treatment of certain cancers and organ transplants. With us tonight is the Senior Account Manager for Community Blood Services, who supports New York and New Jersey hospitals with blood and blood products for the critically ill. Please welcome Robert Hatch, Senior Account Manager, Community Blood Services.
Welcome.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. Thanks for the host, guys.
Rob, if I could call you Rob.
Absolutely.
I want to tie this into Clifton. So how does your organization, how is it affiliated with Clifton, and how do you work in the community?
Sure, absolutely. We've been running blood drives in Bergen-Passaic County, and as you mentioned, Clifton.
Right.
We've done blood drives at Clifton High School for many, many years. In addition to that, once a month, we do the Clifton Stop and Shop over on Broad Street, I believe it is. And we hold a blood drive there again once a month where the community comes out to donate blood. In addition to that, we do various blood drives in Clifton, as Clifton's a huge, huge town. So
Absolutely.
we have Masonic Temple, various churches, as I mentioned, the Stop and Shop, VFWs, fire departments. I know, and right here in Clifton City Hall, we run blood drives, and we have been for about 6 years now. I'd say about twice a year. And again, all this blood goes to service local hospitals in the area.
So now how do you collect this blood?
We rely heavily on the community and people like out there in the public. So it is a huge, huge benefit when we run community drives. Right now it's July, so every blood center in America is running a little behind. People are on vacation, etc. High schools are out. But we rely heavily on the community, corporations, churches, temples. Any kind of community group that is willing to volunteer their time to donate blood is what we rely on heavily. We have registered nurses, phlebotomists that draw the blood. This is free of charge, doesn't cost a thing. And again, all we can ask is that the public come out and donate blood. Right now, I'd say 5% of the population donate blood. New Jersey, we're at about 2.6. So we have our work cut out for us.
Are we on a shortage now for blood? Because every now and then you hear that, hey, we desperately need blood.
Sure.
Are we at that stage?
Yeah, it's to a point where I'd say we're about a 1.5, 2 day supply. So as quickly as we get it in, once we run tests through it to make sure it's okay to go out into the public and go to our local hospitals, it's gone. I mean, we did a high school, I want to say about a month ago, in Bergen County, and we collected 96 pints. They were gone in 3 days' time. Okay. So when you hear that, it's...
So after you collect this and process it, which hospitals does your organization service?
Again, we only service local hospitals, so all New Jersey and maybe a couple in New York. So for example, just thinking in relation to here, I would say Hackensack Medical Center, where they're 100% supplier. We do Bergen Regional Medical, St. Joe's in Patterson, St. Joe's in Wayne. Chilton Memorial Hospital, I'd say we're up about 20, 25 hospitals in the area. So again, your blood is staying in New Jersey, New York. It's not being shipped or exported out to another state, anything like that. So again, you're helping your own community, which is a huge thing in this area.
Okay, now a few questions that I have.
Sure.
You go in to give blood.
Right.
What's the process like? Because a lot of people haven't given blood.
Oh, absolutely,
So,
yeah.
you know, just so their edification.
Sure.
How long does this process take, and what's involved?
Sure. Ballpark, again, to your point, the majority just haven't given blood, whether they think they can't or they just haven't done it. The whole process takes about 45 minutes to an hour. They come in, they fill out this fun-filled questionnaire of about 52 yes or no questions. That takes a couple minutes here and there. Then they go into one of our 2 screening rooms where they are screened, asking them if they're on any specific medications to make sure they're in general good health. Body piercings, tattoos, been out of the country. They go over all that medical stuff, the screenings. They take your blood pressure, your temperature, like they would at a doctor's office to ensure that you're okay. Take your pulse. Once you finish all that, you head to the bed. I'd say I'm a fast bleeder personally. I mean, yeah, the more you hydrate, the better off you are. I tend to go in about 7 minutes, but it takes about maybe 7 to 12 minutes to actually donate the pint of blood. Then you head to our front area, which is where everyone likes. That's where the free donuts, juice, and cookies happen. So everyone likes that portion of it, especially our high school students. So I'd say all in all, maybe 45 minutes to an hour you need to reserve for your time to actually complete the act.
Okay, and most people come in. Now, they give the blood. Now, the next process would be the screening, because you don't want to give out bad blood or contaminated blood.
Of course.
So now this goes to a particular lab?
Correct. And we have labs at our center at Community Blood Services in Montville and Paramus. And what we do is, to your point, we run a screening process where we, again, put it through the lab. We test for hepatitis, syphilis, HIV, all that fun stuff. Once it is deemed okay, it takes about maybe a day and a half to actually run thorough testing through it. And then it'll literally sit on a shelf. Blood has a shelf life of 30 days. So it can sit on the shelf for 30 days. The most I've seen it sit on a shelf is maybe 5. So it's really first come, first served. So if Hackensack calls us and needs 28 pints of blood, that's where it goes.
Okay, now I don't know if this is relevant or not. Can people donate blood and save it for themselves?
You know, they haven't done that.
I've heard that, but is that
yeah, it's what's called an autologous donation, where if you have an upcoming surgery coming in the next, whatever, a couple weeks or month, and you want to donate blood for yourself, you can do that, and they reserve that pint of blood for when you do have your operation or procedure. You can actually have it stored and reserved for yourself. Typically, I'd say the majority of the donations that we collect, and we collect about maybe 34, 35,000 units a year. The majority, again, is just the public coming in to donate, and it goes to support whatever patients are in need.
Right. Now, hypothetically, there's an emergency, and we have a blood shortage, and you're in a hospital. What happens at that point? Do they get from other towns?
Right. I mean, yeah, how it works is,
they can't leave you without it.
No, absolutely. I always tell my wife, it's not like Grey's Anatomy where the blood is just there. You know, so it's not like that. So how it works is, you know, if I was being treated at St. Joe's or something, and you know, I'm A positive. I'm one of the relatively common blood types, so they should have my blood type on hand. Knock on wood. Worst case scenario, if they don't, it's to a point where, since we collect, you know, as much as we can, we go through it as fast as we collect it. It's to a point where New Jersey, we have to import a lot. I mean, we have to actually get it from other states. So regardless, whatever hospital you're being treated at, you will be guaranteed to get the blood you need that's matching your type to service you. So nothing to worry about there.
Right. No. So that leads me to almost probably my last question is, so what can the public do to really help this? Because obviously this is a big issue.
Yeah, it is, and I think it's a lack of knowledge. So again, shows like this, I really do appreciate you having us on just to talk about it. Run a blood drive. Go donate blood, and if you don't like it, I mean, the number one reason, believe it or not, we have blood surveys all over the United States when we talk to other blood centers in Chicago, LA, and we always ask each other, you know, what's the number one reason people don't donate blood? Automatically, everyone thinks, oh, it's the sight of blood, or I'm afraid of needles, I don't like that. And believe it or not, the number one reason every single year is the same, is I was never asked. You know, you think about that, and I didn't donate blood till I missed bio class senior year of high school, so that's a good reason. But one of the things the public can do is definitely, if you're not donating blood yourself, ask someone to do it. Run a blood drive at your church, run a blood drive at your temple, your VFW, fire department, school, place of business, anything you can do. There's absolutely no cost. The benefit to, obviously, instead, you know, just beside the free donuts, juice, and cookies, they get to have their blood pressure taken, their cholesterol, pulse, blood type, hemoglobin, aka your iron. So all these tests, all these screenings are free. And the most important thing, you get to save a life. Your
Right.
blood is going to help somebody.
Right, and that's what I was going to say. And we'd like to thank Rob for coming on. It's like you said, it's important because you can save a life. And if you have an organization that's interested in this, you know, you could contact him. We have his name on the screen. Plus, it's doing a nice thing for someone else and for your community. So we'd like to thank Rob for coming on. And hopefully we learned something tonight, and maybe we'll all donate a little blood and maybe help save someone's life. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the time.
It's been a pleasure.
Gentlemen.
I don't want to lose you, this good thing that I got. 'Cause if I would surely lose a lot. 'Cause your love is better than any love I know. It's like thunder and lightning. The way you love me is frightening. Think I better not. Oh, baby.
Welcome back. Every now and then we have to showcase one of the city's finest volunteers, those who work tirelessly without want of praise. Today's volunteer just happens to be one of the Meet Clifton family, as well as a member of the Cable TV Committee and the Clifton CERT team, and much more. Please help me welcome Patrick Meyer.
Hey,
Thanks for coming up.
great to see you, Pat.
It's unusual because, well, not even unusual. We see Pat all the time, and actually he's the voice behind the camera. You know, we see all the shows on TV, and you hear the little announcing in the back. Well, that's actually Pat. That's his voice. But today we want to showcase him because he volunteers so much
Yes.
that he needs some praise. So, but Pat, how'd you get involved with the Clifton Cable?
The Clifton Cable, we were in the OEM, which is the Office of Emergency Management, and we were also responsible for some announcements on the cable.
Right.
And that's how I got involved really in it. And then we started doing shows.
Right. Well, what did some of the show? How long have you been doing this first?
We've been doing it for since about 2002.
Oh, a long time.
And the first show was the Pet of the Week show.
Right.
And we did that, we were supposed to make that fit between the gap in the meetings, the first meeting and the second meeting of the city council.
Right.
And what happened was they put another show in that spot. And it was only supposed to be 5 minutes. So I said, what about my show? And they said, well, if you come up with a half hour, we'll give you the show. So we went down to the dog pound there, and out of the blue, we never met these people, and we started doing a show from there at the Dogs and Cats. And that's how I got started.
Right. And it's still on.
It's still on, yeah.
Yeah, and actually, if you close your eyes and you hear the voice, you'll say, oh, yeah, I've heard on a dozen other shows. Oh, what other shows have you done?
Oh, we did lots of shows. We do concerts, and we interview people all the time on different subjects. Usually, about 90% of the stuff that's done outside of City Hall
Right.
is probably something I've done.
So you've done the Avenue of Flags.
Avenue of Flags,
What
we've
about
done.
Bodley Village that you do every Friday and Saturday when we,
We
have
do
our
the concerts. We interview
Don't forget
the
that.
people in the concerts.
Right.
We interview the people seeing the concerts. We do the music.
You do
yeah.
a tremendous
Yeah,
job.
yeah, yeah,
We'd be
yeah.
lost without you.
Yeah, no, and actually, you do any of the festivals. I know you do the Athenia Business Association
Yes.
festival. You do the Halloween, the Clifton Halloween
Oh,
stuff.
we had a good time on the Halloween, your Halloween show we did. That
yeah,
was
we do,
fantastic.
right, we do shows.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, anything that you see on TV, basically, other than the people designated to do it on the cable,
Pat does it.
yeah, Pat actually
Thanks.
does it, and you hear his voice, and it's all volunteer, and we appreciate it because if Pat didn't do it, would be pretty much down to a skeleton crew.
Right.
So we have events coming up, so maybe we could just talk a little bit. What do we have coming up?
Well, we're going to have the street fair. We're going to have the Van Houten Street Fair.
Right.
And that's going to be a big thing to do. And also the Boys and Girls Club car show.
Right, the car show.
Which is a big deal for us to do.
Right.
You know, one of the big ones. And we'll run it a whole hour if the people don't
Right.
mind to watch,
Right.
to get the whole thing.
And that's in September.
Yeah, well, they're both coming up in
Yeah,
September.
but you also
yeah.
do the things for Relay for Life.
Relay for Life,
Anything for
yeah.
Chris Lisner.
Chris Lisner, the boxing for the soldiers. We
Right.
do that. We do the putting up of the
Right,
flags.
Clifton Cares, you do.
Clifton Cares, right? Yeah.
Right.
The Clifton concerts on Sunday, you do too?
Yeah, we do
Oh,
them,
right,
and we're
right.
doing the 100-year anniversary concerts too on Wednesday night.
Wednesday nights.
But I'd like to say that the crew here you know, meet Clifton. We have a really excellent crew here. We're well, everybody gets along here, and it's fantastic. You know, a lot of people should still come on the show. You know what I mean? We still got ways
Oh, yeah,
to
we
go.
have ways to go.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people. So, Pat, just so we focus on you a little bit, you film all these things. What else do you do? When you come back, you're responsible for editing and...
Oh, yeah, I do it all myself. I have a computer at home that I edit all the films or tapes. And what happens is it takes almost the amount of same time that you're doing the thing out in the field to edit the thing. We have to find the right music and the right cuts and the right interviews in the right spot. It's you know, a little bit. And when you get editing, the time really flies. You could spend 3 or 4 hours there, you know, editing a piece. You know, you get really lost in it.
Right. And
Yeah.
I know in essence, you coordinated with our Clifton, obviously, program director, Craig Shom.
Yeah, we send it in,
who's
and
our city employee
usually
who
on
does this.
Friday we have something called the Clifton Showcase.
Right.
And the Clifton Showcase was designed to highlight all the extra programs besides the meetings that we have in the
Right.
town. All right, we started that a long time ago, back about 15 years ago.
Right. And
All
then,
right.
of course, you have the cable committee, which you're part of.
Right, I'm the chairman of the advisory committee for the cable,
Right. And
Yeah.
that's an advisory board to the city council.
city council,
So
right?
people pitch ideas to you and
Sure, right. We're just doing Chef Todd, and Todd's Table is going to be done again. We did about 7 of them back in 2014, and we're going to be doing more now of that. And what else?
well, you did the three generations, right?
That's what I was going
Oh,
to
we
say.
did the 3
We're going to
generations.
bring the 3 generations back.
Right.
We're going
right.
to try.
Right. I think you did something with the holiday bread.
We do stuff with the library. We do stuff with the
Easter
art
bread.
center.
Easter
We,
bread.
you know,
Easter bread. Remember the Easter bread?
well, we had Susie doing the Easter bread in her kitchen, right, on location.
Yeah, and so we try to find programming.
Right.
And this is what Pat's involved in. You know, we'd like for you to meet him technically, because all you ever hear is his voice in the background. But he volunteers so much, and he should be recognized, because we don't know who would do it if Pat didn't actually do it. So we'd like to
Nobody.
thank him for everything he does, and thanks for coming on your own show.
Oh,
Yeah, really.
I'm usually on camera 1 over there, you know. Put on a place here today.
Thank you.
You did a great job. You always do.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the updates, and I hope you're enjoying your summer and the outdoors. And on the outdoor section, we have the upcoming concerts at Woodrow Wilson Middle School on Van Houten Avenue. They're every Wednesday evening at 7:30, and that's from July 5th through August 30th. And the most upcoming ones are July 12th and July 19th. Now with the summer, don't forget to remember to go to the Clifton Car Show at the Clifton Boys and Girls Club, and that's on Colfax Ave. That will be September 10th. And then on September 17th, it's the Van Houten Avenue Street Fair, and that is on September 17th.
Hi everyone. The Clifton Health Department will be having a free presentation on stroke awareness. That'll be on July 20th at 10 a.m. Registration is required, and for more information, you can call 973-470-5760. The Clifton Health Department will also be having a vascular ultrasound screening Tuesday, July 25th from 2 to 4 in the afternoon. Registration is required for that one. It is free of charge, so please call them. Again, 973-470-5760. And last but not least, National Night Out will be on August 1st between the hours of 6 and 9 p.m. and that will be at Maine Memorial Park, so be sure to stop by.
Thank you.
Thank you for the updates, ladies. Sometimes our bodies ache, but what causes these pains, and can these pains develop into something worse, if not controlled? Here to give us some insight into our bodies is chiropractor Dr. Michael Magwood. Please help me welcome him.
Thank you again, Doctor, for coming.
You're welcome, Doc. Thanks for coming in. Thank you. Chiropractors treat a lot of problems. Tonight we're going to focus on pains in the neck. And I don't want to start with George, but these are going to be serious pains.
Okay.
So Doc, a pain in the neck, it can be a common complaint when people come to you. So where do we start with that, and what are some of the causes?
Well, ultimately, the reason people suffer and they have deteriorative problems in the neck is because they've lived lives with stress, neglect, and abuse. Those things are natural in life, and if we didn't have some stress, I don't believe there'd be a life worth living.
Right.
So now it becomes a process where people need to render themselves care. And that's all by themselves. The main cause of illness that leads to death is not cancer, it's not heart disease. It's literally, and the science shows this now, it's poor choices.
Right.
So the inability of someone to know how to render themselves care is killing us, literally.
Right, because I know that there's a lot of research on stress now, and it points a lot to different cancers that are associated with our lives now. And, you know, chiropractic deals with this stress. But are there more serious conditions to diagnose and treat than that are associated with neck pain?
Yes. The common things that people think of and their doctors do diagnose commonly are stresses, strains. We even hear people talk about pinched nerves. But ultimately, what I believe the most important diagnosis to be conscious of is a thing called vertebral subluxation. So a subluxated vertebra we think of and we're traditionally taught is it's a vertebra that's literally gone out of place.
Right.
And chiropractors are traditionally known for treating that. But in reality, a subluxation is more of a neurological effect of stress. So I label it as a separation from wholeness.
Right.
Do you want to be whole, or do you want to be living a portion of your human potential? And that's what we would find is that important thing, because subluxations themselves they're not the painful part.
Right.
They become an issue that becomes painful or perhaps severely painful when they've been left unchecked and uncared for.
So what are the traditional or holistic treatments that we, you know?
Okay, traditionally we consider therapies, therapeutic or physical therapy modalities. Doctors prescribe medication, and that's common. People think, oh, I'm going to take a pill, and the doctor says then the pain won't be there. And traditionally, that's the easy thing.
Right.
The holistic thinker, and I don't love that word holistic, but alternatives to that are, in my opinion, superior because we're not masking the symptom.
Right.
I would rather know I'm in pain and realize that that may be a warning signal,
Right.
or there may be something to attend to. The purpose of pain is to give us a warning signal that something might not be going on as designed.
Right. So is it possible to detect the neck problem before the patient even experiences the pain?
Yes. The best way to detect is simply to be checked. So when we're talking to someone about, is there a problem? Is there something to work on? Well, the simple check involves two things first. The first one is just simply screening their posture. The posture is like the window to the entire spine and nerve system. And secondly, we can feel through touch, and through specific techniques, you can go through an entire neurological exam in minutes looking at how the nervous system affects or is affected by the spine that may be under stress.
Right. And I'm going to read this question in entirety because I need to
Sounds like a good one.
Yeah. Are there developmental concerns that predispose someone to have problems with the neck later in life?
Absolutely.
Because if we could address that, that'd be great.
That is great. That's a good question. The idea that people can be born with vertebral subluxation simply because of the trauma of the birth process, and well, that gets largely undiagnosed. People can even have traumas prior to being born based on insults that are physical, chemical, and emotional that the mom has experienced during pregnancy. And then there's the obvious developmental things. How many times do you think you fall by the time you're 10 years old?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
I'd say 10,000. 10,000. So do these have a profound and devastating effect? Well, there are so many factors involved that we just don't know, and that's the purpose and the reason why we'd want to simply check every newborn baby and every child as they're going through things like learning to sit up the first time. Their little falls from crawling, they're learning to walk, and before you know it, it's sports.
Right.
And so forth.
I guess chiropractic is prevention in nature. I mean, you want to help, but it's preventative also, right?
In a way.
To some point. Because if it's left untreated, let's just take the neck, left untreated, what can, obviously, I don't know everything, but what can happen to a person if they walk around all their life in neck pain? You know, what are the results?
Subluxations left untreated can lead to decay or deterioration, and what has become so commonly understood as normal aging is arthritic changes. And I don't believe we should even begin to decay until we're in excess of 125 years old. And you know, we need to find out how to get there. But chiropractic is just simply one of those methods of of, like you say, preventing that deteriorative effect.
Yeah, it's sort of like you get checked, you go to the dentist and you have a checkup. I mean, I go to chiropractor, I believe in it.
Yeah, sure.
I think my health, has been great, and I attribute it to that. So I'm not suggesting that someone do this, but I think for me it's been helpful, and I believe in this. So what kind of tips can we offer people suffering from pain? So, people out there now, what can we offer them tip-wise?
Good. Well, there's a few methods that we can do ourselves to work on posture, and without the help of any doctor. We want to be elongated. We want our spine to be fully elongated. So if we think of what it's like to lay out across the floor,
right,
we're really neutral along that hard surface. If we could stand up and maintain that same length and go about our activities that way, that would be great.
Right.
And so the tip then is, well, how do you figure out how to do that? And it's standing up against the wall behind you.
Oh, yeah.
If your heels are there, if the tailbone is there, shoulders and head are all touching there comfortably, then you know you're in a good place. And if that's uncomfortable, then maybe we need to work on it.
And I know in your practice you offer this advice to your patients. You give them alternatives and how to live a better life.
Everyone needs homework, yeah.
Yeah, everyone needs homework. So I suggest that, if you have any problems and concerns, you might want to look into the chiropractic. It can certainly help a lot of people. It's not nothing new. It's not new technology. It's been around probably, I don't know how long, but it's been around quite a long time.
Since 1895.
There we go. That answers the question. So if it's something you're interested in, please delve into it more, research it, and maybe you can get some help with some problems that you're having now. I'd like to thank Dr. Magwood for coming on, and we appreciate all the knowledge. Thank you. Well, that's it for us this week. But me, Clifton, will be back soon with even more from your hometown. I'd like to thank my co-host George Silva and the Two-Tone Orchestra for joining me yet again and making this show so much fun. Also, thanks to our guests Robert Hatch, Patrick Meyer, and Dr. Michael Magwood for sharing this information with us today. Until next time, be good to your friends and family, respect your neighbors, keep Clifton close to your heart. This is a great city. Thank you, God bless, and good night.